up, everybody? It is April Justine from Bloods by Design, and today I'm going to go over how to eradicate mites, reptile mites, those bugs that plague us, in one application. You heard me right, one application. So, what are the normal things that people use? I've heard of people using Nix. I've heard of people using soaks with dish soap. Okay? I've heard of Pam. I actually have Pam right here. I sometimes use this on the cage if the cage has it. Obviously if the animal has it, it's in the cage. So I'll use that. That's a very common one. Also, so people know, when people say PAM, prevent a mite, so PAM, not like the PAM, like oil spray stuff, although I've seen people use that too. But this is when people say PAM, this is what they're talking about, prevent a mite. And this is probably $8 to $15 for this can here, and if you have a huge collection, and you're going to use a lot of this if that's the case. So people use that. With that, you have to break the mite cycle. So what happens is you have an egg, and it hatches, and then that mite has to go feed, and they feed on your snake. Once they feed, they breed and they make more eggs, and then the cycle continues. As you can see, the egg hatches, they go get food, they mate, they breed, lay eggs, egg hatches. So this cycle, I believe, happens every 4 to 6 weeks, I believe. Don't quote me on that 100%, but I'm pretty sure 4 to 6 weeks. And what do they look like? As adults, they look like little poppy seeds. So tiny little black specks that hide under the scales of your snake skin. And in the eyes, like right around the eyes, you can see them there. You can see them in their nose. You can see them in their pits, along their face. You can see them there too. If you notice that your snake has weird looking eyes, sometimes that's a sign for mites. If you notice that your snake is in the water bowl all the time, sometimes that is a sign for mites. So when you get a new snake, it's best, if you can, depending upon the type of snake it is. You don't want to put a snake that lives 6 inches in dirt all the time on just paper towels out in the open. That will cause a lot of stress. But if you have blood pythons, corn snakes, ball pythons, a lot of different boas, most pythons actually, you can put them right on paper towels. Why? Because it's white and you can see if these little mites come back. Okay, so that's how you figure out if your snake has mites. You will do an application. Okay, we'll say normally what I see most people do is one application, and then they do the application every single week. So they treat their animal and they treat their cage. Now, if you have more than one animal and you only treat the one animal, it will spread. Period, end of story. I almost guarantee you those mites will spread. And they spread like wildfire, and you cannot get rid of them. Well, it's very hard to get rid of them. So what do I do and what do I use? Okay, about 5 years ago, I had mites and I used Nix, and I would treat every single week. And then my wonderful friend said, hey, use Frontline Spray instead. Frontline Spray. This is an alcohol-based spray, and my reptile vet actually has recommended this for reptiles. When I go over the application, I'll tell you like the do's and don'ts of it. But like I said, this is alcohol-based, so once you put this on your animal, it will dry basically immediately and absorb into the skin immediately. Now, I tested this once and thought, I'm just going to do one application and see if this gets rid of the mites completely. I did one application of this on my snakes, not the enclosures, just the snakes. Every single snake in my collection, though, I did everyone, one time. Took a couple hours. It took, most of this bottle, because I also had to do this big girl here. She wasn't as big, but she was, still pretty big. I did one application, and the mites never came back. Never came back, guys. That's crazy. Absolutely nuts. Because most of the time, you have to apply and apply and apply, and there's this uphill battle, and it is so exhausting. But this, one shot. All right, let me show you how to actually apply this. What you're going to want is some gloves. Some gloves and some Frontline Spray. Oh, by the way, you can get the Frontline Spray on Amazon. Sometimes you can get it at your vet. I think you can get it at Petco and PetSmart, but a lot of times they don't have it, but that's where it's going to be. All right, so you glove up. Let me go get my corn snake, and we'll do an application on her. All right, guys, this is my corn snake, Vixen. She is the daughter of my very first snake, so I have a sentimental ties to her. Anyway, she is an adult. I talked about some do's and don'ts of this. Do's, glove your hands. Another do, spray the Frontline Spray on your hands and then on the animal. The only time I sprayed it directly on an animal is if they're unbelievably aggressive. I will do that. Or if you're as big as her, I sprayed it directly on her and then wiped it in. You're going to want to, some don'ts, you're going to want to avoid the head. If they actually breathe this in because of so much alcohol, you're going to see an instant reaction. They are going to, how do I know? Because I did it. Don't do what I did. It barely got in her mouth and it was just saliva all over the place. Saliva, saliva, saliva. She was backing away, trying to get away from the smell. I just felt really awful for the animals. So don't get it on their head. Also, babies, don't use this on babies because they will likely have a terrible reaction and pass away. We did this on a baby carpet. They're really small, really skinny, and it did not make it. Don't do it on baby corn snakes. I would wait for them to at least be a year and a half old for corn snakes if you're going to do that. Anything you want some size to it because it's just overpowering to their system. This is, like I said, very smelly because of it's alcohol based, so you have that very strong alcohol smell. So you don't want to do that. Also, another big don't. Do not spray the enclosure with this. You will fumigate yourself and it's awful because like I said, it's alcohol based. It's just alcohol. And if you spray that cage trying to be, crazy about it, you want to get these mites out. I understand, I get it, but don't do it. It's just way too much. But let me go ahead and get going. So, another do or don't, it's kind of a neutral for me, removing their water bowl. With almost every other mite treatment, mite application that you do, you remove their water bowl. That way, if they go in it and it gets in the water, they don't ingest it. This dries so quickly that I do not do that. If you feel more comfortable removing your water bowls, by all means do that, and I would do it for 24 hours. But I personally do not, and I've had no issues. Hold on, little one. All right, so, is this even on? Yeah. It comes up, ooh, shit. Spray. Now it dries pretty fast, so do this, and then all I do is I go right behind her head and just literally just do this. This is all that you do. And then once it dries, I think actually that application will work for this whole snake because you can feel it dry in your hand too. And yes, she's getting it on my neck. Am I worried about it? No. So there you go. And how do you know if you can go ahead and put your snake back? This is going to be the weirdest thing ever, okay? You smell your snake. I know, super weird. But there's no alcohol smell on it anymore, so I know that, I guess I'll do this side. Yeah, we're good. I know it's the silliest thing ever, but you'll know that you can put them back if it doesn't smell, if your snake does not smell like alcohol anymore. That means that it is dry and they are good to go. Literally, that is all you do. I just treated her for mites. They will never come back. Not that I have them here in my collection, but when you do, God, they're so terrible. They're awful. Yeah, that is all that you do. That's it. I can put her right on back and, all is well. If you want to do a second application, I would do that in 3 to 4 weeks after your first application. And what you're doing is you're trying to break the cycle. You are, the eggs show up, they eat off your snake. You notice them finally in their adult form on the snake. You go ahead and kill those ones. The eggs are still there. Most things don't kill the eggs, so they come back. The adults come back. You want to catch it right when those eggs hatch to when the mites start feeding, because if you don't, then they can go into their reproductive phase and then lay eggs again. So that's where you want to break the cycle right there. So like I said, for this, you only have to do it once. It absorbs into their skin, just like Frontline with animals, with dogs and cats, with mammals. It absorbs into their skin, so it'll stay in their skin, and when the animals bite them, they will get bit, but when the animals bite them, it gets ingested by the mite, and then it kills them. So if you have that, even the eggs, when the eggs hatch and they come onto your snake and eat off of your snake, they immediately will be killed and eradicated. So yeah, this is Vixen. Thank you, Vixen, for being a wonderful model. I appreciate it. I hope that this helped you out. I know mites are a super terrible problem, but this will definitely fix it. So once again, it is Frontline Spray. This is what it looks like. I will link it down below. Please, if you have experience with it, please comment down below and let us know. If you found a better way to do something, also let us know. But I'm telling you, this, for everything that I have used in the past, this is the deal. All right, guys, until next time, see ya.